Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and especially you nephew, welcome back to another Riftbound video. And for today, I got you a little guide getting ready for the release event coming up this weekend. So make sure you're checking with your locals. Check the website. I'm forgetting the name, but if you just look up Riftbound release event, the first link that pops up should find your locals. If you don't already know, but I wanted to talk about what you need to know before going so you can hopefully win your locals, your release event. I don't think there's any special reward. I'm pretty sure it's all participation trophies, but still good to, shot and come out strong when the game releases. With that being said, I gotta remember to say this at the start of my videos and not the end, but remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more Riftbound content. Thank you all so much for the support that you have been showing. But with that being said, let's jump straight into it. Flashbang warning here. It's about to get real bright. That's why I didn't want to start on this page. But here is the Riftbound website for all the organized play. It shows you tournament rules if you want to look at those. Judge, how to become a judge, all that. But for right now, we're just going to talk about local store events, and that is the Origins release event. So when October 2025. The format is pre-con battles. The prizes are only participation awards, and then just a casual level of play. I also talk about pre-release events. I'm pretty sure this is for later sets, so it's 1 week before the set release, and the next set will come out in English in February. So just keep that in mind. But we're just going to be talking about the Origins release event for today. And so it says the release event for Origins will be the very first organized play event for Riftbound. Participants will be able to purchase pre-constructed champion decks featuring Jinx, Lee Sin, and Victor, along with ways to upgrade these decks, and then you will get to use them to battle other players and learn how to play Riftbound. This is a great event for players of all skill levels looking to experience the game and get in touch with their local Riftbound community. So, yeah, pretty simple. You will start off with one of these 3 starter decks. We have Jinx, Lee Sin, or Victor, and I have all of them pulled up so we can go over the deck list so you can get an idea of what you want to choose, what you want to go into starting this game with, and also I formed a little list of upgrades you can be looking for. But before we get there, I don't say how. It says just along with other ways to upgrade those decks. I'm assuming maybe it'll be like maybe 3 to 4 packs, booster packs, but I don't know for sure. I'm pretty sure that's how Pokemon release events go. You get a particular, not release event, but promo events go. You get a particular pack and along with a couple boosters to help you get into the new set. So I'm assuming this, you buy a deck, and you also will more than likely have to buy the boosters as well to upgrade your deck. And that is what we'll be talking about when we get to this page. But before we get there, let's go over the actual pre-constructed decks. And shout out to these people at the Piltover Archive for uploading the deck list for the out-of-the-box pre-con decks. So let's start with Victor. Herald of the Arcane. His leader ability is you pay 1 and tap him to play 1 recruit token. Or play 1 recruit token, just in general. And I wish it showed it, but a recruit token is just a 1 might minion. The lowest power in the game, I believe. I think it has to be, because once you get to 0, you die. So lowest power, no ability, but you just get it for 1 mana, not mana, 1 energy every turn. And there's ways to make those better. So the battlefields that this deck comes with is Altar of Unity, the Grand Plaza, and Trifarian War Camp. Altar of Unity says that when you hold here, play 1 recruit token to your base, so you add more recruit tokens on top of your effect, building a army of little guys to swarm the board with. The Grand Plaza, when you hold here and you have 7+ units, you win the game. So you can win the game early outside of the 8-point ruling. If you hold with 7 or more units, at this battlefield, or Trifarian War Camp units here have +1 might. This includes attackers. So this just allows your baby units to be a little bit stronger when they're at the war camp. And for the most part, this there's plays around it, but for the most part, this battlefield becomes a battle of who has more units there because they have more buffs technically. But it's still, you know, regular math still adds up. Just because you have 2 units there and they have 1 doesn't mean you just win. But it does help you out more than it helps your opponent. But in the main deck, we have Victor, the Innovator, as the chosen champion of the deck. This is the only Victor in the deck. You only get 1 of them, and so he will be in your champion zone because you have to put him there to play the game. And then it says when you play a card on your opponent's turn, play 1 recruit token to your base. So you just make even more recruits, adding so much swarm to your board already with just these 3 abilities. But that's when you play a card on your opponent's turn. And so the way you play a card on your opponent's turn are these cards here. The spells with reaction or action are all cards that can be played on your opponent's turn. And it comes with, and these hidden cards as well. And it comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different types. Let me actually count the cards. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So 12 out of the 39 cards in your deck. Oh, this is also an action card. I didn't know this was in there, but it's 1 more. So 13 out of 40 cards in your deck can be played on your opponent's turn. So that just makes him make even more recruit tokens. And notice that he doesn't have to be at a battlefield to do this. So you can just play this to your base and create a small army on your opponent's turn. And because you're playing them on your opponent's turn, they come in arrested, but on your upkeep, they will be active. So it's something that your opponent has to worry about with this Victor on board. Next card is Stupefy, pretty standard card. And this actually brings me to another point of going to these release events and why it's important to get your hands on a structured deck or a pre-constructed deck. I don't want to say guaranteed because I'm pretty sure it's more than likely a while supplies last situation, but to have your best chance at getting your hands on these actual cards, because a lot of these cards are pretty standard for most decks that you build. Stupefy is a pretty universal blue card, so it's Ravenbloom Student. Hidden Blade is pretty universal. Eager Apprentice pretty universal. Back to Back pretty universal. So a lot of these cards will do belong in this deck, but will also help your collection and you building more decks as you get your hands on the rest of the set. But yeah, Stupefy's in here. Orb of Regret is in here. Give a unit -1 might. And let's go over all these minus cards because I do want to get through these fast and not go over every single card because it will take forever. But Stupefy, Orb of Regret, Smokescreen. Is that it for minus might? That seems to be it for subtracting might. So all these cards sort of help you get your opponent's units down to your level. Like I said, you're playing a lot of just 1 might tokens, which isn't the strongest. So you use these cards to help your opponent, or to help yourself get your opponent's characters down to the might level that you can attack into. Ravenbloom Student is just, pretty standard. It grows as you play spells. Mushroom Pouch, which I thought was funny being in this deck, because I didn't see a real way to be in this deck. But if you control a face down card of the battlefield, you draw 1 at your beginning phase. So that's these hidden cards. That's the combo that they want from that deck. And there is 2, 4, 6 hidden cards in here. So pretty high chance of you getting those, but I would probably replace this with something else. If you get your hands on packs. We'll go over the cards later. Like I said, hidden cards to help you stay in the game. This just kills a unit at a battlefield. And with this deck, you can even kill your own if you're ahead. You can kill your own little recruit token because it doesn't mean much to you. and just draw 2 off of that, or kill a very high-minded card your opponent has and allow them to draw 2, so you can get in there with your tiny army. And then these units are, pretty standard. This channels a rune after it dies. This is another one of each player kills one of their units. You can kill one of your little units, and your opponent will have to kill a bigger unit. But this is not a action or reaction, so this can only be played on your main phase. One thing that I thought was interesting was this Heimerdinger. So it says, I have all the tap abilities of all friendly legends, units, and gear. It doesn't run anything else that taps outside of the leader. So I thought it was interesting they put him in here. It is a one of, but who knows what other deck this can actually go into. I don't think this is the best deck for it, so you might want to replace this one as well on cards that you pull out of your packs. And something else that I thought was strange about this deck is that it doesn't have that many other ways to reduce or to make recruit tokens outside of this Noxian Drummer here. When I move to a battlefield, play a 1 recruit token here, so it also makes recruit token, but there's even more ways to make recruit tokens to really flood the board in an accelerated way. Wraith of Echoes is also an interesting choice. I will also probably drop this each time a friendly unit dies. Each turn, draw 1. It's cool, but it's 6 and a recycle. I don't think it's that important in a deck like this. I know you can send your recruit tokens to die, or allow your recruit tokens to die, and or make your recruit tokens die with this Cruel Patron. For example, you kill a friendly unit so you can kill a recruit token. You have to kill a friendly unit to play this, so that will trigger this, but I don't think it's that important. What I thought was cool though is this Grand Stratagem. I didn't know this was in the deck. I actually put it in here somewhere. Yeah, I put it in here as a card to be looking out for pulling. Give friendly units +5 might this turn. So that's all units. So if you developed a bunch of recruit tokens, and maybe that's all you have at a battlefield, and your opponent pushes in thinking that it's going to be easy pickings, they all become 6 might for 3 recycles, which is a lot, but it is still an extremely strong turn, both on defense and on attack, to take back a board with a bunch of 6 might recruit tokens instead of just 1 might recruit tokens. But yeah, for the most part, that is this idea of gameplay. It is a split between spell buffing and debuffing, and playing a lot of recruit tokens and building a small army. And for the next deck, we have Lee Sin. Blind Monk, you pay 1 and tap him, much like the Victor, but you buff a friendly unit. And if you don't know, only 1 buff can go to a friendly unit unless stated can go to a unit unless stated otherwise. So that's important to know as you get into this game. But the battlefield set it comes with is Grove of Godwillow. When you hold here, draw 1 at Targon's Peak. When you conquer here, ready 2 runes at the end of this turn. And then Monastery of Hirana? I think that's how you say that. When you conquer here, you may spend a buff to draw 1. So this one might be the best for this event, because your opponent's decks do not buff, at least not in what they're set up to do. They do not buff, so this is really only for you. They can conquer here and gain a point, but they don't really have the option to spend a buff to draw 1. So this might be the best battlefield for this event. But these are not bad either, especially to just have in your collection. But with that being said, you can probably see what this deck wants to do. It's just about buffing, making your units strong and hard to get over. Sort of the opposite of this Victor deck, where you want to make a wide board. Here you want to make a tall board and buff them up individually with your leader effect. So let's go over a little bit of this. So they have some cards that are whatchamacallit, I'll just say buff I don't know how to. I don't know how to say this. So it's weird. We're trying to say this. Um, because everybody appreciates from a buff over appreciators down here. Um, so you have the Watson Elder. When I'm buff, he has an additional +1. So you can only attach one buff to him. But instead of going from a 4/4, or instead of going to 5 might, he will go to 6 might. The Windclaw Shaman, it says when you play me, you may spend a buff to buff me and ready me. So you can play him out, take a buff from any other of these weaker characters to have him come in ready as a 4/4. This Udyr, it says spend my buff and then choose one if you're not chosen on this turn. It says deal 2 to a unit at a battlefield, stun a unit at a battlefield, ready me, or give me ganking this turn. So this is something that you can continuously do with your leader effect here, and other cards that give buffs, which I will go over later. And then this one also says while I'm buff, I have ganking. And then these two don't have extra abilities, but they are your big buff targets, I should say, that you want on your board. Which is interesting that only one of these recycle a room. That's kind of crazy. But I think it's because of how much setup that these all need. But yeah, the other cards in here are not buffs, but do add might. This is important for wording's sake. This one is when a friendly unit attacks or defends alone, give it +1 this turn. Discipline, give +2 and draw 1. Stand united, buff a friendly unit, and then buffs gives an additional +1 to friendly units this turn, which is also important to add extra buff on top of your buff to all units. And this is also a hidden card that can also be played at action speed. But yeah, all these just making your units even stronger for the turn, rather than buffing, but it does make them stronger. What is this? Okay. So challenge and charm are sort of similar in this deck. Charm has a little bit of more use to it, but they can both be used in the same way. So challenge, you choose an enemy unit and a friendly unit, and they deal their mights equal to each other. So because you will more than likely have the buffed unit, this one, will be at a 7 or something. 3, 3, 3, and then down here you got 11. This can get to 7, 7, 7, 6. So normally you have the higher mighty unit, so you would essentially this is just its form of a removal in this deck. Now charm can be used in 2 ways. You can push a unit away from a battlefield that you can't win, and then you move in to conquer it. Or if you already have a unit there that is extremely strong, you can move a unit to that battlefield, forcing an attack, maybe messing up some setup. Like I said with this Victor deck, there is this Victor Innovator that can stay at the base and make a bunch of recruit tokens. But if you have a Lee Sin let's say you have this Lee Sin at a battlefield, then you use Charm, force him to move to you, and you'll kill it because it's 3 might to 6 at base and 7 with the legend ability there. So this is also a way of removal in this deck. Then you have your just standard cards here. Starwood Portal, Pit Rookie, Wielder of Water, all 3 cards that you first made as well, all 3 cards that you just won in your collection, and they come at playsets. So pretty good pickup here as well. And finally, we have the Jinx deck. Now Jinx, Loose Cannon says at the start of your beginning phase, draw 1 if you have 1 or fewer cards in your hand. So this is all about hand dumping. You also get a Targon's Peak in here, but the other ones you get are Zon Warrens and Reaver's Row. When you defend here, you may move friendly units here to base, and Zon Warrens. When you conquer here, discard 1, then draw 1. Reaver's Row, I think, might be the best one here, for reasons that you kind of want to protect your units in this deck, or your most important units in this deck, especially this Jinx and this Vibe, because you only get 1 of each, and they're extremely good in this deck. But like I said, this is a dump deck, so you're going to see a lot of discard triggers in here, a lot of discard synergies in here, and it is what's the word? Kind of hard to get used to, because you want to get down to one card in hand, and the one card in hand is actually not in this deck, and I'll go over that in a second because we're about to get to it. But a lot of these say discard, so this one's you discard design, or the Chemtech Enforcer you discard. This one wants to be discarded. This one discards one when you move, and then this one gets a discard trigger. This one also discard 2, draw 2 when he dies, and this one you can also discard to add to his effect to make him 2 cheaper. And then you've got the cards that play off of your discard, which is very important, like this Cemetery Attendant. You can gain a unit from your trash to your hand. This one, when you discard it, you draw 1, or you can play it, or anything, but most likely in this deck you will be discarding it. This one, it costs 1 less for each card in your trash, so the higher your discard is, the cheaper this becomes. And this does not have a limit, so you can play this for a recycled room if you get your discard that high. And kill a unit gear, or give a unit temporary. Okay, that's not that what I want to talk about. So Vi is actually really important here, because you can, it says recycle 1 from your trash and give me +1 this turn. Now, this is not a buff, so this effect can be done infinitely as long as there's cards in your trash. So this plays off of your card in your trash, so make sure if you want to play her, or you want to use this effect and play, you know, Arasha the Sun Dreader, make sure you play this first and then proc your Vi effects. Recycling means you take it from your trash and put it to the bottom of your deck, so you can stay. Actually, never mind. You don't lose the game when you reshuffle in this game, or when you run out of cards in this game. But this does also work with your trash really well. But you only get 1 of them, so just make sure you use them wisely. Make sure you're grabbing her with your Cemetery Attendant if she does die. But hopefully Reaper's Row, you're able to move 1 of them, your important cards back. So this one is alright, is a decent pick. You get a lot of your universal cards. Get Excited's pretty good. Chemtech Enforcer is pretty good. Flame Choppers is pretty good. And Brazen Buccaneer is pretty good. So is the Blazing Scorcher. And also Void Seeker for Kaisa players out there. And 3 of Gust. So these are pretty good cards to get at playsets of. I should say this. I don't think there is a wrong pick for the decks you get. Play whatever you want to build, play what you like. So just make sure you look at their deck lists and know what you want to be building in this set. But this one's a bit weak in my opinion, at least straight out the box. So let's talk about cards we can use to buff up our decks. Let's go, since we just talked about Jinx, let's talk about Jinx still. So we have Cleave here, which is a one cost unit, or 1 cost spell, and that's something that you should be using in the Jinx deck. Are these, I think the issue with cards like this Magma Worm, and even this Undercover Agent, especially this Raging Soul, is it's a bit too expensive. So these 1 cost spells and 2 cost spells are really strong to keep your hand low. This Darius should not be here. I'll talk about that in a second. This Darius should not be there. I don't know why I even clicked them. But yeah, these 1 cost spells, 2 cost spells are very important to curve out with, so you can get your hand low. You don't want to have 3 or 2 or 3 of these magma worms in your hand, or blaze, or not blaze scorches, but undercover agent in your hand, especially because you're recycling one, and this deck does a lot of recycling. Even these fading memories is not that good of a card. The Rasha is fine because it does become cheaper, but you want to have these cheap cards in hand so you can play multiple cards per turn, getting your hand size down to that 1 or 0, so you can draw extra off your leader effect, and cycle through your deck faster in that way. So we got a lot of 1-cost spells here, 2-cost units here, 3-cost units, 2-cost units, 3-cost gears. But talking about these spells, we got Cleave, Hextech Ray, Morbid Return, and Stack Deck, and then Super Mega Death Rocket. So this is what I was mentioning before. For some reason, the starter decks do not come with signature spells. So if you pick up a signature spell, especially of the deck you chose, you know, throw it in there, because it is made specifically for your legend. So the signature spell here, signature spell for all of these, it's just good to throw in, especially in such a limited format. I know a lot of Lee Sin decks don't run Dragon Rage, but in such a limited format, it is actually pretty good. This is another form of the showdown card that we went over before. But yeah, some cheap spells here. Morbid Return helps you get units back from your trash to your hand, much like the attendant, the cemetery attendant, for cheaper and no recycle. You don't develop a unit, but it is still a good card to get cards that you may have discarded before. Hextech Ray and Cleave just helps you get over your opponent, maybe focusing on the Lee Sin here, get over your opponent's higher mighted characters, dealing damage to them, adding might to your own units, and pushing them into other battlefields that make it harder for your opponent to defend against. These are actually good against both decks, to be honest, to deal this small amount of damage here, and there, especially using this Ravenborn Tome to get bonus damage for the next spell you play. On like Victor, or taking care of a Victor unit, not the Victor unit, but a recruit token unit, or like a Ravenbloom student before they even get to play spells to buff them. But yeah, all these little bodies that you can take care of, and then hopefully just get over the recruit tokens with your own might, because it is very much targeted. You don't get to go around, I think, outside of, yeah, even this one is targeted to a single unit. So if you have anything that deals damage to multiple units, that would be good against Victor. But like I said, I like to keep it small costed. Speaking of small costed, Noxus Hopeful is pretty good off the same thing. You can, you know, pop a Hextech Ray, kill a small unit, and then play this Noxus Hopeful for 2 instead of 4, because it has the Legion effect. I think that's why I put this Darius in here. But the reason why I say this Darius doesn't belong anymore is because you want to get down to 1 to 2 cards in hand, and you don't always play 2 cards per turn. So his effects will really pretty much be dead after he is played. So I don't think he belongs in this deck as much as I thought he did. Captain Farron adds Assault. Like I said, just add a bit more oomph to your attacks, because this gives Assault to all your friendly units that will attack with him, essentially. This is just in case. It says when you play me, opponents can't play cards this turn. This isn't like a extremely good card in the meta, but I think in a deck like, or not in a deck, in a format like this where you know your opponents will be either a Jinx, a Victor, or a Lee Sin, having it so you lock them out of playing cards this turn is really strong, especially against the Victor with the legend that it comes with. And then we have Immortal Phoenix. When you kill a unit with this spell, you may pay 1 and recycle a red to play them from your trash. So this is just more discard synergies. And then Unlicensed Armory, another discard synergy, but you also can protect a friendly unit by discarding with this. So you discard and tap this and then choose a unit. The next time it dies, you may pay 1 to recycle and recall it, exhaust it instead. So yeah, these are cards I will recommend for buffing up the Jinx deck in your tournament play. So next, let's go backwards. Let's just go to Lee Sin. We got counter spells here. We got Defy. We have our block isn't a counter spell, but Defy as a counter spell. Block is even more protection. Another hidden card you can play. Dragon's Rage, like I already mentioned, it says move an enemy unit and then choose another enemy unit at its destination. They deal damage equal to their mights to each other. So this is, you're removing some sort of body in this way, and if they actually match, then you kill both bodies. So this is another form of removal that if you see in your packs, go ahead, throw it in the deck. This Lee Sin is quite literally just the better Lee Sin. He has shield, and then you can tap him to buff him, and he can have any number of buffs. So he's always a target for your legend ability to continuously buff up infinitely as he buffs himself. So after the first turn that he's played, he can get 2 buffs per turn. I don't know why this isn't the chosen champion of the deck, but extremely strong card. Kiana is also an extremely strong card. When I conquer, draw 1 or channel 1 rune exhausted. So coming in as a 4/4, but you can get buffed to it for 5 with deflect and being able to just bully your opponent, forcing them to recycle a rune to target with spells and abilities, much like this Victor wants to do and the Jinx wants to do. They have to recycle the rune to do so. To target her with that card, especially if you have cards like Defy. They have to recycle it to start it, and then you defy it, and they recycle an extra rune for no reason. So yeah, pretty good synergies between those two, but the ability to draw or channel 1 rune is pretty good. Sunlit Guardian is just a tank with shield 1, and he can be buffed, so he can be a 5 tank just for 3 costs. So a pretty good on curve unit to add to your deck. Arena's Bar, which is another thing that I thought was strange to not go in this deck, but you can buff an exhausted friendly unit. You might think this is worthless because your leader already does that, but your leader can also buff units at a battlefield. And like I said, this being one of the better battlefields to play in this format, when you conquer here, you may spend a buff to draw 1. So you can buff a unit when it's played to your base with this Arena's Bar, and then move it to this battlefield on the next turn, spend that buff to draw 1, and then rebuff it with this ability. And then play your next unit and then buff it with Arena's Bar. So it just adds more buffs, which is what your deck wants to do. So it's no harm in throwing this in as well if you pull it. Unyielding Spirit is just another form of protection like these two. Because you are investing so much into a singular unit, these protections are very important in a deck like this. Finally, the upgrades for Victor. I did want to talk about one more thing. So this Lee Sin, you see, is borderless. I don't know for sure this Lee Sin and also this Victor. When I see borderless cards, I know that the Teemo borderless one is a promo card. I don't know if these are promo cards though. This one says Origin in the bottom left, so I think it should just be in the Origin set. In the packs that we get, or that we should get, I shouldn't say get because I don't know for sure, but that we should get to upgrade our decks. But in that bottom left, it says OGN, which is Origin, or the Origin set for the game. So I'm pretty sure that means that you should be able to pull these out of packs. And yeah, the Teemo is I know the Teemo for sure is a promo card. Um, but I actually don't know if it's in the set as well. We'll see. We'll see. Um, but yeah, let's talk about upgrades for this deck. Like I said, Grand Stratagem is something that's already in there, so don't worry about this one. I didn't see it. As always, your signature spell, choose a battlefield, give friendly units there +1 and enemy units there -1 to a minimum of 1. So this is helping you become stronger while also weakening all your enemies' attacks at reaction speed. So can be used defensively or proactively on attack. Watchful Sentry just helps you draw, and especially if you have this Victor out, which I also think is the better leader for this deck. This is when another non-recruit token you control dies, play a 1 might recruit token onto your base. So cards like this, just let him die, and literally get a draw and his same might right back to your base. So pretty good card in Watchful Sentry. Lexington Yordle, also more draw help, but it also has tank. So let this die, make another recruit token, and maybe even this might have even saved from them clearing out 2 recruit tokens based off of his might alone. Thousand Tail Watcher helps you get back into the game when you play me, give units -3 to a minimum of 1. So yeah, just helps you get back into the game. You can accelerate it if you're on the back foot to weaken your opponent. Go in with some minions, some recruit tokens, while the opponent is weak. Same thing behind this RA. When I attack or defend, give enemy unit -2. So this helps with the minus effects that this deck was halfway building to. Or the other way to build this deck is the recruit way. So cards like this, Faithful Manufacturer, there's a ton of cards that actually make recruits, but I didn't put them all in here. Just wanted this one as an example, but when you play them, you play a 1 might recruit token here. And then Daring Portal just for curve and things like that, and it's also a pretty good attacker. But yeah, so depending on what you pull, you might want to form this deck into more of a recruit building deck, making a extremely wide board, more than this deck already does, and finding space for cards like these. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to set up for today, or talk about for today. I appreciate you all watching. Good luck at your release events. I'm excited to play myself. Mine is on Saturday. Hopefully I get to record some games and we can go over it on this channel. But yeah, like I said in the beginning of the video, if you liked the video, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more Riftbound content, go ahead and subscribe. I will try to be dropping them during the weekdays, and I will see you all on the next one. Remember to support your local card shops, and goodbye.